Esmeralda. Welcome to my YouTube video today. I'm actually going to be reviewing this book that I received a long time ago. Actually, pretty much about 2 years ago, back in December 2016. Basically, this book, my sister did give it to me for Christmas. It's a biography of Jenni Rivera, a very well-known artist in the Spanish community in Mexico, even here in the US. She was very, very well known. But yeah, so she gave me this book and she said, you know what, I think you probably enjoy it. I rarely actually read autobiographies. I don't know, I just never really did. But since she's been buying me autobiography books, I have to admit I've been very intrigued in reading them and everything. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mariela. Thanks to her, now I'm reading autobiographies, and basically I added another genre into what I like to read, basically. I basically started reading this book back in January 2017. The first chapter or two, I couldn't, you guys. I had to put this down. I started bawling my eyes out. More because it's actually quite fitting, I guess, for what is going on now around the world. Right now around the world, there's a lot of talk, a lot of marches, a lot of speeches and conferences and everything about the hashtag Me Too movement. It's a very touchy subject, which I'm not really going to get into a lot, but I will say that this really triggered a lot. If you are someone who, basically get triggered by certain books that seemed a little bit too surreal, or it's definitely about maybe sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, this would be a book that I would definitely caution you right before reading. I think not to say too much, but sometimes when you're past, you go through some things in your past, and just by reading certain things or knowing that in real life somebody went through something, not necessarily exactly similar, but something in that aspect, it does trigger a lot of memories, a lot of things, and to me, it was very, very hard. I had to definitely put it down and I had to take a breather. So if you're that type of person, this may or may not happen to you, but just be forewarned with this book. This book, it's as real and as raw as it gets. There is no hiding. And I now understand who Jenni Rivera is. I think a lot of people misunderstood her, including myself. I'm gonna definitely put myself up there. The reason why I say a lot of people misunderstood her is because she, I mean, I remember her being very controversial in the Spanish news, and definitely like in just any type of celebrity news that she was in, it was like big drama. Oh, there goes a girl that got the big voice and she likes making corridos and music about, you know, men and about life and just raw stuff. Things that like are really rough to listen to sometimes. But she was the type of person that, you know what, I don't care. No one's gonna F with me. I'm a tough woman. No one can tell me what or what not to do because I lived my life. I know what it's like to be dumped down in the floor and be able to get back up. And back in the days, a lot of people didn't like women that were very assertive, very strong-willing, and just had this demeanor that was a very fierce, you know, like, she was basically a voice to be reckoned. Like, no one can diss her in any way because she would quickly let you have it, basically. So there is a part where it explains on here basically when Jenni Rivera went on to a talk show called Gordo en la Flaca. It's with Lily and I want to say it was Raúl Remolina too. But they're the two hosts that are in that show, and they invited her in to see if they can clear ways with this other artist that presumably the media was trying to cause beef between them just from a little comment that Jenni had given before, or that the girl had given before, because keep in mind, women get catty. Very, very catty. And I think a lot of people see that even in our own celebrities here in America, but also in Mexico and in the Spanish channels. People can get really catty. So that's kind of what had happened. There was definitely something that happened, and eventually on air, that later on when Jenni Rivera got off the air, went home, she saw the media, what was going on, what had happened, and she was then informed about a particular artist basically saying things behind her back, and how Gordo y la Flaca, the show, basically just kind of brushed it off and kind of made her look like an idiot, basically. She didn't appreciate that. At the end of the day, she went back on that show. She got invited. They wanted to formally apologize for being rude to her or whatever, because it was a little bit uncalled for. Keep in mind, I had the mentality of Jenni Rivera was just this tough, like really like kind of girl. So I was just like, oh boy, it's gonna be something's gonna start. You know, actually, she was predominantly calm, but it was for her chance to talk. She did sing a verse, and it was a very vulgar verse at the very end. She got up, took off her mic, and just walked off stage. Like, that was the Jenni Rivera that this book, I think she really wanted you to know what happened during that time. And actually, it's kind of surreal and weird to see something play out on TV and then actually hearing or reading the actual person explain the situation. And I can definitely understand now where she came from. And there's a lot of things in her life that are very rough. They're very raw. And I think if you are willing to definitely go with an open mind and definitely understand someone who has gone through abuse and different forms of abuse, this would be probably a really good book to pick up. And literally just the cover of it, Unbreakable, it's serious. Ricky, shh. It seriously sums up what she is. I think that there was moments where she felt that she had broken, and I can understand. She went through a lot of things. I mean, from court to being literally mocked and talked about in the media, people definitely misunderstanding her, even in her own concerts when she was doing concerts. This definitely puts a different perspective, and I kind of love the way the ending was. It's really weird, and I'm not gonna lie, I cried a little bit at the end, but it was more because I realized that inadvertently she kind of knew that her time was coming, and the way she ended her chapter of this book, it just seemed so fitting for it. And then of course it explained to you what happened, the plane crash she was in and just somehow crashed, and how she lost her life. It definitely leaves you with a lot of questions of what could have, would have, should have. There is definitely a relationship, her very last marriage that she had. They had a lot of questions to do with it. I wish that there was a little bit more information on that, but I could tell that she wanted to keep that private. So it must have been something serious. But honestly, with everything that's in this book, it's very, very crazy. Another thing that was also in the media was her children, and how she went to court with an ex of hers, and how he had abused her children. So this really gets into detail. I think if you're ready for something like that, then definitely pick up this book. You may or may not, depending on how you may get triggered or whatever, you might have to do it chapter by chapter or just kind of play it by ear, but it's a predominantly easy read. I do have a couple little tabs here just because there was a couple phrases that I really, it spoke to me and I really liked, and I wanted to save them for future references. Now, in the middle of the book, first, obviously, this is how the book kind of is. Every time when you start a chapter, it gives you basically in Spanish and English a verse, either from a song that she had or just a song from a different artist, but something relating to that chapter in particular. And then she has the pictures. They did put in the pictures of her childhood growing up, as well as her children, even how, you know, her, basically all her fans and her concerts. And I got to admit, like, I changed my perspective in the way I viewed her, because it's true. I mean, not true, but it's just so crazy how the media can really twist things around, and how things sometimes aren't always what they seem. And I can now see why she's saying the songs she's saying. And this definitely, it's an eye-opener, I think, for anybody. Whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, I think this book would be really a learning experience too. Goodness, I don't want to tell too much, but there is way more stuff in here. a lot more detailed accounts of her life and the struggles she had to deal with. Yeah, like this is heartbreaking, surreal, but definitely a read that I highly recommend for you guys. So I hope this kind of gives you guys an idea as to this book and if you guys should actually pick it up or not. I definitely recommend it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this particular review. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I just wanted to give you guys a really quick little snippets and see if maybe you guys are intrigued. I was definitely intrigued, and like I said, if you get triggered easily, definitely just go in with caution. That's all I tell you. And I heard that her daughter, the book she had, Cheekies, her daughter also has a book out, and I heard is just as raw as this. So I don't know. I may or may not go and see just to see what it's about, mainly because I feel like when I finally picked this book up to finish it up, I mentally got myself ready, and I did it. I chugged through this book. I wanted to keep reading, and it just really brings you into the life that she had and just how dark some portion of her life was. But yeah, that concludes this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry that this was probably a little bit kind of a damper, a little bit sad kind of review, but let's be honest, this book is really intense. It really, really is intense. But if you like this review, definitely give this video a like. Also, subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. And more book reviews are definitely going to be coming to the channel. So be ready for that. And until next time, everyone, toodles!